Greetings and welcome to another episode of Q Points Podcast. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is J. Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. What's happening, folks?
Q Points Podcast is the podcast dropping the needle on Black music history. With everything that's been going on recently, J. Ray, I can imagine
we got to get closer to the Lord or whoever it is that you do your thing to.
Exactly. But J. Ray, okay, this is just between me and you. Don't you kind of roll your eyes just a little bit every time a musician, switches it up and they find God and they're just like, they become so pious and holy, and now all of a sudden everything that they did to get where they are is out the window. Don't you just kind of roll your eyes just a little bit and when an artist finds God and they want to switch things up?
I do. I do. And that's so sad. It's cynical. And the reason why I roll my eyes a little bit is because, we're a little long in the tooth, Sir Daniel. We done seen things happen and people do this. And by now we can recognize when it is real and when it is some foolishness. Because there's some folks I think we'll talk about tonight. We're like, no, that's like an honest thing, right?
Right.
But some of them folks, you be just like, for real though?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And when I think about like our icons, the people that put in the work years and years ago, a lot of them had led very church-centered lives.
Yes.
Because at that time, we're talking about Jim Crow, a little post-Jim Crow era, being church-centered and having that was probably one of the only things that Black people had to cling on to was the religion that was given to them. And they had to make their lives centered around that because that was a place of peace. It was a place of joy. It was a place to break out your Sunday's freshest, your Sunday best. So I get it. I get why a lot of our people like, Aretha Franklin, loads of people came out but they came from a very church-centered life.
Yes. I mean, first of all, and we've talked about this on the show many times, right? The music that we love has some sort of spiritual center. That's what that's the sauce. You know what I mean? Yep. So if people want to know what the sauce is, part of the sauce is some kind of spiritual center where you understand that gift that you've been given, right? And you've honed that gift probably in some sort of space that was spiritually led at one point. And now you give it to the world. It makes perfect sense, right? The stuff that we love got some of that good, got some good from God in it.
Or as I like to say, it got that oil on it.
It got that oil on it.
It got that oil on it. And we can tell when y'all don't have that oil. There's a lot of young people today, they ain't got no oil. Right. They ain't got no oil on the singing, their rapping. It's just dry and as ashy as can be. J. Ray, what makes you think causes an artist to come from that background? What do you think makes them dip their toe into the secular world and want to take that chance?
Because we are complicated let me say it differently. We are multifaceted beings, right?
Right.
And because we are multifaceted beings and we are connected to the world and we're experiencing the world, right? There's a natural tendency to be like, okay, well, how can I take this a step further? When I interviewed Archbishop Carl Bean, and we were talking about I Was Born This Way, but he was like, before that, his first album, he said, no, I wanted to get out of the gospel box because I wanted to take this message to other people, right? And I knew that if I stayed in this gospel box, there's only so far it could go. And I knew that the message could go further. So I think that's the big thing. I think you know, people, folks want to take the message out, and they're having experiences and da da da. What about you?
I I believe that I get it too. I get it
Mhm.
because again, considering we're coming out of this is post Jim Crow era.
Mhm.
We've got a Vietnam War in
Mhm.
the in the in the forecast, or even after that. There's a lot of things where Black people are struggling to create identity and to stake their claim in the world. And sometimes that takes stepping out of the box. That takes leaving the church, which is a very secure, loving, and warm place. But like you said, Carl Bean felt like he needed to go out and take the message to other people. But
Mhm.
what I will say also is that a lot of those people outside of the Black church, outside of the Black community, always found their way to come to the church. I just automatically, while you were talking, I was thinking about Aretha Franklin's
Mhm.
Amazing Grace,
Yeah.
and how Mick Jagger showed up to the recording,
He
and
was listening.
how a lot of those other rockers showed up, and they were just sitting and eating it up, just eating the anointing up, and just having a good old time. And then when you see the live stage shows, they're doing a variation of catching the Holy Ghost on stage and raking in millions and garnering lots of fans through that. So
That is so interesting that you bring that up, because I think there's a natural symbiosis. I don't even know if that's the right word, child. But there's this natural tendency, I think, for creatives to pull from inspiration from each
mhm.
other, right? And like, if I get moved by something, I want to recreate that creatively. And so I think it's this natural tendency for folks to just kind of latch on to things that they see are creative. But I want to go a step deeper too, about this particular part of the topic, because it also makes me think of like artists, how frowned upon, if you were in gospel, how frowned upon it was if you
Yes.
chose to dip your toe on the secular side of things.
Mhm.
And if we, I talk about the Girl Can't Dance a lot. So if y'all look up Black Music Mixtape, you could hear about the Girl Can't Dance, which is kind of like pre-punk, but it's Bunker Hill, who was really David Walker, who was singing in the Mighty Clouds of Joy, but he had to take on this name because he would
Get
have been
ostracized.
absolutely instantly. And this man, meanwhile, is creating legendary music as part of a gospel group, and also creating legendary music as a rock act, where it's like two songs exist in that moniker. So I just think it's a natural tendency for folks to just kind of like, okay, well, soak it up, and then put it out.
But J. Ray, we've been talking about the church, and we know that
Mhm.
people automatically think Christianity.
Mhm.
But Christianity is by far not the only religion where we see people who have been who are in the music industry. Marvin grew up in a religion called the House of God.
I
He
did
grew,
not know that.
and they were very strict. He
That I
also
knew.
now, and which his father, of course, was a part of. So
Yes.
there's that. And I didn't know there might have been he was probably also a Hebrew Israelite also,
Oh, baby.
which yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Huh.
so that says a lot. But so yes, we got Christianity, but plenty of a lot of rappers lean into
Mhm.
Islam and the Muslim
Absolutely.
faith. And they make we see a lot of people, a lot of artists, when they experience something life-changing. So a lot of people experience really hard times. Some of them get close to death,
Mhm.
really bad drug habits, and so that's where they find themselves looking for a greater power to help them. And we've
Yes.
seen plenty of examples of that. And one that sticks out to me the most, of course, is one of my favorites, our favorites, of course, Vanity,
Yes.
better known as Denise Matthews,
Yes.
who Mama made a complete change from here out to here,
Yep.
there, TNA.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mama went and put on that good turtleneck, pulled
Yep.
that hair back, and put on those
The-
thick frame glasses, and had her word in her hand, her good Bible in her hand, and was ready to have Bible study with you at the drop of a dime.
Absolutely. What's interesting about Denise in particular, because she's one of those artists, she got that religion honest, right? She talked about how she got to God and saw that as, her God saving her, right, from the life that she was living. And I really respect that. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, one of the things that we know for sure, Sir Daniel, is that the music industry tests a ton of people. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's difficult. You got to deal with all of this shiesty stuff and all of this difficulty. And everybody needs something to hold on to, right? And I think when I think about Denise specifically, I think of someone who was she was burning that candle on all the ends possible. You know what I'm saying? And so her finding religion it wasn't fake. It was
Right.
like, this is who I am now.
Right, because and when you think about it, what anybody that turns to religion or some sort, the source, what they're looking for is a grounding.
Mm-hmm.
What they're looking for is some place to get themselves centered.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people feel like that is found in organized religion. And I'm not knocking it. Sometimes like you said, in her case, it was needed. I grew up Seventh-day Adventist.
Uh-huh.
And so I know that sometimes the stricter the
The more you
lines of the
break out.
religion, the more you break out just a little bit. Like, baby, I could not wait to get home to watch Video Music Box. I remember, as a Seventh-day Adventist, when the sun goes down on Friday, everything goes off. No television, no nothing. And of course, in New York in the 80s on Friday night, we didn't have MTV, but what did we have? We had Hot Tracks with the Rick Aviles and the rest of the crew, and I wanted to watch that so bad so I could see what the latest videos were and watch the people popping and locking and doing the latest dances. And, I think that's a through line. It's like when you try to keep people away from things or keep them back from stuff, they tend to gravitate and want it even more when they can't have it.
Yeah, now this brings up a question, Sir Daniel, because yes, that is very true. And I'm actually curious. I've never asked you this before.
Yes.
When you reflect now, because I'm sure when you're a kid, you have feelings about the experience that you're having, right? So I'm curious to know, what do you remember feeling as a kid when you like, this is what I got to do? And now when you reflect, what is it like now when you think about it?
When when I was a kid, I felt, oh my God, this is so oppressive. This is so boring. Everybody else is having a good time, and I just did not understand what is the big deal about wanting to hear a little rap music. Jerry, I will never forget one day at school. We had an assembly, and it was I guess it was a week of prayer, I think they were calling it. And they had this youth pastor come by to the school, and I didn't know what was going on. I think I was in the 8th grade. I didn't know what was going on at first, but he had asked people to bring in their music, rap music, hip, R&B, whatever, and they were going to do a music burning.
No, not a
Jerry, I
burning.
promise you. And there was like people were bringing up, like somebody walked up there with a copy of Audio 2's Top Billing, and it took everything from me not to rescue that that vinyl copy of Top Billing. I don't know. And I grew up in the era of the. Do you remember the era of backwards masking? You know that term, J. Ray?
Oh, you mean the
And
playing it
said that
backwards?
when you play it backwards, you
Yeah.
hear messages of people, messages from the devil and all this other stuff. Now, granted, there are some instances on that particular record where things are set in reverse.
I mean,
and it's
language.
it's a little dirty, but it's not
right.
but it's not but it's not straight from, it's not a memo from Lucifer or nothing like that. But that was the kind of thing I grew up around. And
Right.
I just remember a moment like when I was 13 where I just was like broke away from all of that and just was like, this music, there just can't be something bad about this music. It just makes me feel so good. I don't want to do bad things, but I do want to have a good time. I like dancing. I like all of these things are good. These people are good. What possibly could come out of this? So that was my experience. And now as an adult, so almost 50, what I appreciate was the structure. I appreciate the structure of, being a church kid, being Seventh-day Adventist, and being able to just be a good person and have some structure to my life, be respectful of elders, all that good stuff that carries you, can carry you throughout your life. But yeah, that was my experience.
You may know this story, but my getting closer to God actually took me out of the specifics of the book because I was reading the book. For folks that don't know, when I was in middle school, I was kind of on a priest trajectory. I was baptized Catholic, the only one in my immediate family, because I chose to do it because, I be doing my own thing and my parents said, sure, this is a thing that we will allow, right? So anyway, I remember very specifically having this very difficult spiritual experience involving, because there was a party. We graduated from 8th grade. It was a whole thing and there was going to be a party and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know if I could go. I was like, oh my God, no, there's going to be like sinning at the party. This is, I promise you, God was like, go. Literally was like,
I believe
no, go. I had the best time and it literally changed my relationship to Source. And I really understood the power and and my connection to dancing, my connection to all of that was really pivotal. And so music really was kind of my gateway to like really true spiritual grounding. And so that's why I relate. Like I said, I get when there are artists that kind of go in that direction, but I think the other side of it though, Sir Daniel, right?
Talk about it.
You can tell when the folks are doing it for the check. And there are people in our lives that do it for the check too. Like there are people that I've seen that you're just like, now I know you.
Right.
I know you. This ain't what that is.
First of all, I'm still getting over the fact that in another life we could have been calling you Father Cornegay.
You could absolutely have.
Could have been calling you Father Cornegay. But yes, you're absolutely right. When I think of that era that we were growing up, especially in like the late 70s, early 80s, we grew up in the Reverend Ike era.
Yeah.
And we saw the beginnings of the what do they call them? The that type of religion, the prosperity movement, right? Where they were preaching everything was about prosperity and you need to attract, God wants you to be rich, blah, blah, blah. And so I think that whenever we see rappers, R&B artists gravitate to that, it makes sense because I think it's a continuum of the lives that we've led. We've a lot, especially rap artists.
Yeah.
Prosperity is the message in a lot of early hip hop. And getting rich, get money. You know, a lot of our favorite anthems are about prosperity and getting rich. And so when you have, you know, church leaders, I'm not going to name names, we know who they are, start hanging out with your favorite rappers, and your favorite rapper starts hanging out with them, and, you know, flying in their private helicopters and all of that. I am not surprised in the least when all of a sudden one of your favorite rappers, Mase, and opens up a church down the road, down to the Cheshire Bridge Road, and has a congregation of young people following him because he's Mase.
I can't. I was about to defend it, and I can't even defend it. I will say this, you know, in all fairness, I definitely side eye Pastor Mason or Reverend Mason. I don't know what moniker he used, but I side eyed it. I'm also really sympathetic to the fact that folks do want to get close to something spiritual, something bigger than themselves, something higher, something bigger than themselves. And if this rapper is going to be kind of your gateway to that exploration, I'm sympathetic to that. But I do think that same thing is what leads people. I think they be playing with I think they be playing, y'all.
I'm not gonna act like I didn't side eye Reverend Run when he was running around in fedoras and capes,
right? And with the collar on, and I'm like, okay.
You know, it seems just a little performative, but there are lots of there are quite a few really older pioneers that are ordained ministers now, like Kurtis Blow's an ordained minister. I believe Sparky D, who we've recently seen, and I'm so glad that her story got told, is an ordained minister. We also, I believe, Debbie D. There's a lot of people from that era specifically, but also they came up in a specific era, Reaganomics, the crack era. They lived through that. They didn't necessarily get the riches from hip hop, which they helped create. And so moving on, it makes sense that they would kind of grasp onto that. Not saying that what they're doing is a money grab, but a lot of them really pull themselves out of a lot of those people pull themselves out specifically out of a lot of addiction as well.
Yes.
And so again, needing that higher power to help ground them and to pull them out of that, and thinking, you know, a lot of people still believe that there is something that there's something on the other side of this life that you have to be prepared for. And that there's a place where it's supposed to be that is hot, and there's another place where there's pearly, you know, pearly gates and streets of gold. And, you know, a lot of people want to prepare themselves. And like Mary said, I want to go to heaven, you know, so I get it. I get it, especially if you come from that. There's an era where people grew up and that was really preached and driven into our psyches. And if you survived Reaganomics, if you survived the 80s, you had a crack addiction or whatever, and you came out of that, I kind of see why you're like, ooh, you know, the Lord pulled me out of that, so I'm giving my life over to him and living on the righteous path, because I was saved from certain death.
You know, and I think there is there's value in that, right? There's value in this experience. And I think this actually leads to what Jeremy Avalon is saying in the chat. So Jeremy Avalon lifted up the name of Project Pat. I didn't know Project Pat had this experience. But Jeremy, so Jeremy is saying when they were on the road for Art Beats and Lyrics, Project Pat would let the crowd rap all of his dirty lyrics. So Project Pat wasn't doing it. He let the crowd do it. And then he would pass out Christian books after the show. That is a very like creative way to handle this situation. And it's able to hold both things. Jeremy, I don't know if he spoke about, or if you had a chance to talk to him about this, but I actually respect that approach to doing it. It's not saying, he's not dissing his what got him to that stage. You know what I mean? Because we do experience that, where we saw this in the Little Richard documentary, I Am Everything, where it was like when Little Richard was on his like religion side of things, it was like all things in that former world or that other world he could not be part of at all.
He had to make a clean break from all of it.
Yeah.
All of the tutti and the fruity. He had to make a clean break from it all. That reminds me also, I think of Salt from Salt and Pepper.
Absolutely.
You know, when she, and I will say this. Now, she was working on an album, a solo album that I believe was heavily influenced by gospel. Mm-hmm. And I believe
was it Salt of the Earth or something?
Something to that effect, yes. Yeah. I think that might have snapped because Salt is a very capable rapper. She's a very capable rapper, dope producer, all of that good stuff. So I think that might have snapped. And we got to see what she could do on Kirk Franklin's Stomp, which is to this day is still listen, everything. Gen Z loves that 30 plus year old record. They love it.
It changed the trajectory of Kirk Franklin's career. Like that song. And so many, and he's of course talked about this now, about how, like, once again, that gospel world was like, what in the world? No. But let me tell you, it's now opened up a world where we get all of these other, artists that have come out of it. And so what I love about this conversation, Sir Daniel, is it's so easy in our current moment to be cynical about everything. And I think what we're asking people to be is, it's not everything is not the same. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's up to us to be able to discern. I think I've mentioned, and my brother just went to see her, Cleo from the UK. Her name is the last name is escaping me, but somebody's going to do it in the chat. Cleo Soul. Mm-hmm. Cleo Soul's her approach to this music and infusing it with this spirituality is so uplifting. You know what I mean?
I've heard other people say the same thing. Yes.
Yeah. So I think more artists need to, whatever that oil is, you need to go get that oil so you can put it in your music.
Speaking of which, I know I mentioned Salt probably would have had a dope album, but I'm gonna be honest. I have never heard a gospel rap or rapper that I liked. It's just something about it's just never stuck. Remember DC Talk?
I do remember DC Talk.
That stuff, I would listen and I'm just like, it's not grabbing me. I don't know what it was about gospel rappers that just never did it for me. It just never grabbed me. But it's funny that we mentioned Kirk Franklin, who is as controversial as he is in the eyes of the church. I think he is the most capable and the best example of how you can operate in your gift and minister to people and still entertain and still have a good time. And when he's being criticized, I'm like, I really don't get it. I don't get. So what he got on tight pants? I mean, it got y'all there to salvation. If it took him in some tight pants to get you closer, to get you to salvation. Come on now.
You better preach.
Come on now, he is the moment.
I will say, one, I had to think about it, but one gospel rapper that I think was really dope, Chance the Rapper always landed for me.
So So he was considered a gospel rapper.
I mean, I put him in the gospel rap category because I mean he was very spiritually centered and he was not afraid to talk about God in his music, and he was very open about, you know, his religion. So I think I would have put Chance kind of in there, and probably the only one like that I would really say is like dope. If there are some gospel rappers out there, y'all, in the chat that are dope, let us know. Q Point, we will listen. We will even invite you into the room and we'll listen together.
Change our minds.
Change
our minds. If there's a, and I know people are going to say, I know the name Lecrae is going to come up. That's a name that I've heard quite a bit of. Still haven't really experienced his music, but yeah, like J. Ray said, change our minds. You know, expose us to it. Yes, we all have a path to go down. And I think it's all about being genuine. And I think that's the difference between everybody that we've spoken about in this episode, is that you can clearly tell that what they were going through or what they were experiencing was either real for them and was a real thing, or was just another money grab, another hustle. And look, so there were some people that we just never got we never got like an album. But I think we can't wrap up this discussion without bringing Whitney into this.
Ooh, that girl. Ooh, you want to talk about an anointing?
We cannot have this discussion without mentioning Whitney Elizabeth Houston, because there is, when you talk about oil, that's who we're talking about. I get that same feeling when I hear Fantasia.
Oh my God, yes.
And most recently, Avery Sunshine.
Yes.
So those are people that from Avery, from your homegirl, from Chester.
From Chester.
So there are people in those instances. I realize I respect that oil when I hear those people sing and open up their mouths.
Yes. Who y'all got? Let us know in the chat. Who are some folks, especially some contemporary artists that you like? Yes, they got that. That's exactly what you need. It's flowing through them. Definitely let us know. But of course, we have more. Thank y'all for tuning in for this part of the conversation, where we talk about just kind of the pivot to the pulpit. Thank you. Subscribe wherever you are. If they have a notification bell, hit that so that you can get notified when there are new episodes of Q Points. Visit our website at qpoints.com. You can watch all of our old episodes. And if you really want to support us as well, keep the lights on in Q Points land, we would appreciate it. You can visit our store at store.qpoints.com. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all.
Like I always say, in this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is J. Ray, y'all.
And this is Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. We will see you on the next go round. Peace.
Peace, y'all.